What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I just checked out Mortal Kombat 2, directed by Simon McQuoid, and I got to tell you, this one was not a disappointment, okay? Like the first one, that one kind of disappointed me a little bit because there was hardly any tournaments, there was hardly any fights. It was focused more on Cole Young, Louis Tan's character, and it was a bit of a letdown. So when I saw this second film here, oh my gosh, this was Mortal Kombat. I'm telling you, they did not hold back on the gore. There was a lot of tournaments, and every character had their highlight. They had their spotlight in the film. And this is a spoiler review, so I will go into spoilers here very soon, but I went to see this in 4DX, and oh man, guys, this is something I highly recommend. You should definitely go see this film in 4DX if you haven't watched it already. If you have watched it in any other way, I'm just glad you watched it. But if you haven't, check it out in 4DX. There's a lot of fights in here, a lot of movement, and lots of blood. You know, they don't hold back on the violence. And guys, I'm telling you, they do not hold back, okay? This was a film that did not shy away from killing off certain characters that you can pretty much get attached to, especially in this film. I think they went a little bit more into the emotional part of each character, at least some characters. And when it comes to a tragedy in this film, I mean, it is to like a tragic death. It is definitely tragic. It is definitely merciless. And it is just a fun time. The whole film is just a fun time. And would I say it's Oscar worthy? Probably not, because there's not much storytelling here. It's more just tournament after tournament after tournament. And there's a couple of, what is it called? Like downtime or whatever. In the movie where it kind of slows down, but then immediately it picks up to another fight. There's a lot of comic relief from our character Johnny Cage in here, as well as Kano. We know that from the first movie, and we know that he comes back because of the trailers. So a lot of comic relief from those two characters. Those two characters are comic reliefs in here, but there is constant fights, you guys. So this film here starts off. It looks like it centers around Kitana and Johnny Cage. So there's pretty much like two main characters in here. And the film starts off with Kitana's story when she's a little girl and the first fight between Shao Kahn and her father. And her father is obviously murdered by Shao Kahn. And then, pretty much right there from that point, Kitana wants to get revenge on Shao Kahn. But at that point, Shao Kahn, since he beat her father, he takes over this outworld, or this other realm that they're living in, where her dad was previously in charge. He was king of. So now Shao Kahn is king of that realm, and he's just ruling over everybody, making Kitana's mom his slave. I think he just took her as a spouse, probably. I'm not sure, but he just has all these people working under him now in his evil army, including Shang Tsung and all these other characters, right? That are villains. And then you have the other side, which is pretty much led by Raiden and Liu Kang, and you have the rest of the gang. Throughout the film here, the focus lies on Johnny Cage, where Liu Kang, or is it? I think it's Raiden and Sonya go to recruit him, and you can see that Johnny Cage also in the trailer. He's pretty much like a washed up, actor. He's not really popular. His movies are not very good. He's like starts off in this Comic-Con and he's in this booth trying to sell his films, but he has obviously no fans going up to him and asking for signatures. That must be a horrible feeling. Like you're a famous actor, you've done a lot of movies, and you're not popular, not even like with the local people. It must suck, So he's pretty much just like drinking his life away. He's a failed actor, and he just has nothing to do in his life anymore. And so this is when Sonya and Raiden, they come in to recruit him, and this is where they tell him that he has to help protect the Earth and fight in these tournaments that are pretty much like mortal. It's a Mortal Kombat, right? So it's a fight to the death. There are though a couple fights where there are lives that are spared, and they don't necessarily kill off characters. However, most of the fights consist of tragic deaths and brutal tragic deaths, you guys. Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, though, I gotta say, it didn't really land for me. I see Carl Urban more as a gritty character, like the character that he played in The Boys. I see him more as that, or like a Wolverine character, more than a softer, pretty boy, younger appealing character. I just feel that somebody younger could have played Johnny Cage. Carl Urban, however, did a great job with the lines that he was given, with the delivery of the lines. The performances and overall was just great. But I think his look it's very rough. His face is thick. He's getting older, so it didn't really fit the Johnny Cage look. Where he's more of a pretty boy, of a handsome man. The 90s actor, he was a much better fit for the look of Johnny Cage. And the performance as well was good. It was passable for me. So again, both performances from the 90s actor and Carl Urban's performance for Johnny Cage were both very good. But just Carl Urban's look was not as convincing for me. So there are, other actors in here that we've seen in the first movie that continue to play a great part in their roles. They are still very good with their roles. Adeline Rudolph as Kitana was just a perfect cast. I loved her as Kitana, and she was also the second focus of the film, where we kind of like go back and forth between Johnny Cage and her, and in the middle we have all the fights. But in between these two characters, I feel like they focus more on Carl Urban's character, on Johnny Cage, than they did on Kitana. But when Kitana gets screen time, I think it's fine. It was okay, but at the end she kind of gets her moment to shine, and I thought that was cool. It definitely paid off, and I think it was reasonable for her to get her final fight at the end, which is against Shao Kahn, right? This is her moment to shine, and she obviously is the one that ends up defeating Shao Kahn. Jessica McNamee, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, is as Sonya Blade. I think she's awesome, and she's a gorgeous actress, for my opinion. I think she's perfect, and she gets a fight with I forgot her name. Oh my gosh, I forgot her name. So she fights against the woman that screams, that's with Shao Kahn. I just can't remember her name right now. But that fight is insane. Oh my god. The fight between Sonya and this other character that screams, right? That was one of my favorite fights in here. Okay, Liu Kang against Kong Lao was my favorite fight in the film. Best fight in the film. I cannot believe how good they choreographed this fight. How great it was filmed. Every bit of it had me so tense, because not just because of the movement of the seats and then like the 4DX stuff, but like everything I was watching was so good. And at some point I thought Liu Kang was in grave danger, because Kung Lao's like powers are unpredictable. I mean, his hat is just flying everywhere like a frisbee. You never know when it's coming at you. So very, very good fight. And Martin Ford, this big guy that played Shao Kahn, great casting as well. I barely see him in movies, but he's a good actor. I've seen him in Fearless with Jet Li. I think he was great there. And he's been in other films, but I don't think he's a standout actor for me. But as Shao Kahn, I think he fit the physique and just like the intimidating look of the Shao Kahn character. Definitely a better cast than the the 90s cast in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. This one was definitely a better cast. Louis Tan as Cole Young. Oh my god, I was actually starting to like this character. I will admit this. I was starting to like Cole Young here, because they gave him a little bit more of a motivation and a little bit more screen time, or I should say a better script here, for the things that he said. It really got to me, and I was like, okay, I kind of understand why he's kind of suffering, and I kind of understand his motivation. It made me feel empathy towards him. But he faces Shao Kahn, and he actually, during this fight, he's actually beating Shao Kahn. He injures him enough to get him to fall to the ground, and he's about to finish him off. But then Shao Kahn reacts, and he just like grabs Cole Young by the head and just flips him over, right? Because Ko Young is like standing behind him, about to like stab him or something, and then Shao Kahn just grabs him and then flips him over, and then grabs he has this giant hammer that he just like swings at Ko Young's character and just like bashes his head. And it's such a merciless, disturbing kill where, I mean, even at the end, after he just like bashes his head, like crushes his head completely, he like sweeps his body off into this like, you know, lake or like this thing they're fighting over. It's like a dirty lake that they're fighting around. I don't know what it is, but he just like throws his body in there. And the way that this looked, it was disturbing to me. So I was like, I was just like in disbelief the whole scene. I was like, you know, it definitely made me react that way. And I just couldn't believe Ko Young's character was killed off so merciless. And of course, I cannot forget to mention Hiroyuki Sanada as Scorpion. Fantastic actor. I've always loved seeing him. And so as soon as I saw him here, I was just super happy that he was back from hell, pretty much, to take a revenge on Noob Saibot. And Scorpion is called to kill him again, pretty much, since he was already brought to life by a specific character in here. I also forgot his name, but I thought that was great to have him, you know, called back for that second fight. And then there's, a big, huge cast here that I can't go through in this entire video. But guys, everybody did such an amazing job. Mehcad Brooks as Jax, fantastic. I love seeing him as Jax, and this like the way he's just so cool and smooth and tough as Jax. I loved his performance. But there's a scene here where he faces against Shao Kahn as well, and it definitely ends up with Jax's death. And it is so brutal. They do not hold back here when Shao Kahn kills Jax. Guys, I'm going to tell you, be mentally prepared to see some of these characters die, because they die so brutally, okay? But overall, the film here is, it's just a beautiful film. It is so entertaining. It is what the fans asked for from the first film, right? So Ko Young's character is definitely thrown off to the side, literally, okay? And the film focuses on characters that are cared about, okay? For most fans that they care about, like the main characters from the games. So yeah, those characters are definitely given justice and highlights. And it's a fun time. It's a really fun time to watch. The fights are really good. I enjoyed this movie, you guys. I highly recommend this for you to check out in 4DX if you can. Check it out, you guys. You're going to have a blast if you are a true fan of Mortal Kombat. Finally, before I close out here, I just wanted to let you guys know also that I will be uploading a drawing of a specific character from the Mortal Kombat franchise very soon. So stay tuned for that, you guys. But yeah, so those are my thoughts about the film. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the film, what specific scene stood out to you? Who's your favorite character? And if I left something out, also let me know. Remind me of that. Thank you guys so much for staying all the way to the end and listening to my review. And I will see you guys on the next movie review. Take care of yourselves. Peace.